Thanks for being with us. I'm Lianne Sanderson. I'm beyond excited to introduce to you my next guest, the one and only Mary Queen of Stops, Mary Earps. Mary, I know it's been a whirlwind of a weekend for you, but thank you so much for joining me on my show. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. It's been a difficult few days. But I'm still alive and kicking just about. So here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get into, obviously I've known you for a long time now. I knew you at the
Yeah.
beginning of your career. You've been through the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I love your journey. Sam Matterface was always talking about Mary Queen of Stops in the Euros in 2022.
Mhm.
Now you've got your new exciting book coming out, All In, Mary Earps, Football Life and Learning to Be Unapologetically Me. Now, when it goes on sale, I mean, it's going to go, I think the sales are going to go through the roof. I'm looking forward to getting my copy. But yeah, what was it about the timing of writing this book? Why now?
Yeah, I don't think there was anything specific in the time, and I've had a few offers to write books over the time, and I never felt like they were the right moments in terms of yeah, just not feeling like I'd maybe achieved enough or had enough to say or anything like that. And when this one came around, it felt like, yeah, it felt like a bit of a personal choice, I suppose, like to relive a load of things that I've been through, as you say, the good, the bad, the ugly. And yeah, that's kind of what it was about, really.
Yeah, and I mean the extracts from the book. I know when people write these books, obviously you have to have these moments where you talk about certain things. They've spoke about your sexuality. What was it about now that you felt like was the right time to talk about this? Because obviously someone like myself, I've known you for a number of years. In our industry, it's not that big of a deal, is it? But like, what was it about the timing of now? And did you ever feel like in your career, even now, like it was one of those things where it was a massive weight on your shoulders where you felt like you couldn't kind of be open and honest?
I think more personally than professionally, I think we've got a very inclusive environment, which, never really made me feel like that. I think it was more accepting things within myself. And yeah, I think that now really it's just I probably didn't really want to share that, but I've shared so much of my life and I felt like I couldn't give a real authentic view of everything. If like, there's bits in the book that don't paint me in a particularly good light at different points as well. Like it's not just about like um talking through certain things. It's like it really is everything. And I felt like if I'm gonna go all in, pardon the pun, and if I'm gonna write a book that I feel is true to myself, I have to be willing to be vulnerable about so many different parts of my life, which maybe I haven't shared before.
Yeah, and just talk me through that. I mean, some of the extracts in the book talk about, you finding out about the Euros and you weren't going to be the number one. Like, what was that like? Because as someone that's been in that environment, Mayor, I don't think it's as straightforward as you know, as just playing for England. It's the biggest honor to represent your country,
Sure,
but
sure.
there's a lot of communication. There's a lot that comes with that, isn't there?
Yeah, but I think that the extracts that have been picked out have been, been quite fiery parts, and I really wish certain things hadn't like kind of come about the way that they have, because I feel like this book is really unusual in the fact that a current player's writing it, and that's like a really rare thing in itself. And I think, as I say, because I talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I really don't I think as I say, I've said so much about so many different things, so many different experiences where it's kind of overshadowed what I've really been trying to talk about. And I think when you talk about the conclusions of certain things and you don't look at the sort of the journey to it, and you just focus on one part, like one part can always sound a certain way. And obviously everyone has their right to feel how they feel. Like I'm not telling anyone how to feel. Um, I've tried to write it in, with the best intentions. And I think, it was hard to write. It was difficult to write. It was difficult to be that honest about things which have been really good, about things that have been really painful. And yeah, I guess that's what's been my approach the whole way through.
Yeah, and you obviously made the decision to retire from international football just before the Euros. Looking back on that, obviously we had Frank Kirby and Millie Bright recently as well. Is there an element of you that kind of you still stand by that decision? You regret that decision? What was it like watching the Euros, having worked so hard to kind of be part of that squad?
I loved watching the Euros. I had absolutely no doubt in my mind that the girls would win. I said it before, during, and after. Like there was no surprise. They're such a phenomenal team. I think the obviously the timing of the announcement was shocking to everyone, and I think, it wasn't an easy thing for me to come to personally, and I think that I think that I just tried to do it the best way I could in the circumstances that it was. Um, but I think you get different things wrong over the time, and I don't know. I feel like for me, it was the right decision mentally and physically. I was able to look after myself in the summer. The girls went on and won. Sarina won her third back-to-back tournament, and I just feel like everyone was able to go on and win, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Sometimes chapters come to an end and new chapters begin, and yeah, I think the only sad part for me is I've not really been able to celebrate it. I think sort of the obviously I wasn't able to celebrate at the time of the retirement, and now with the book, the way things have gone, like I've not been able to celebrate that either. And that's obviously sad on a personal note, but ultimately you have to kind of take things on the chin and yeah, move forward.
But I think if people read the book on its entirety, as opposed to just picking out the extracts, which, I like the fact that you shared the honest truth because I don't think people fully understand what it's like to be in that environment. Mare, was there ever an element where you kind of felt like this type of timing of the book as well? Like when you retired for international football, there was a lot of people kind of saying you've let your country down, you've let the team down. Was that quite hard to not like have a voice in that moment? Because this is the first time you've really spoken about it, isn't it?
It was definitely hard in that moment. It's not easy. It's not easy when people have got so many things to say. It's never easy. I've obviously had to get used to it a little bit more since like we won the Euros in 2022, and I try and always take the good with the bad. Obviously I'm a human being, like it does hurt my feelings, but I think that I do think there's a lot more to the book than just that extract, and um yeah, the way that the extract's been taken. But at the same time, if I was in their shoes and I only had the extract, I'd probably be coming to the same conclusion. So I don't judge people. I just urge people, like, I've really tried to write this book in a fair but also honest and authentic way. Some of it is ugly, like I do understand that, and some people will always disagree with me with things that I've shared, and they'd say, oh, you should have kept that private or whatever, and I understand that. I respect that. I felt like this was, something that could be really beautiful in the sense of, yeah, I think we live in a world where we don't say really like what our truth is sometimes, and that doesn't mean that our truth is the only truth. There's so many truths that can be true at the same time, and everyone has different perspectives on the same situation, and I think that's what makes humans so beautiful. Like I really do, but yeah, it's hard right now because obviously there's a lot of noise about stuff that I really don't want to focus on. And I hope when people read it in its full context, like I hope that people will be like, oh, that actually makes sense, and I can see how this got to there. But when you only see certain things, and then it becomes a big thing, obviously.
And what is the most important thing you want people to take away? So people are reading this book all over the world. They could be on a sun lounge, they could be in their house, they could be wherever, right? What is it you want people to think when they read that book and they put it down again after reading Mary Earps's book?
I think just like how normal struggle is, like we all have different struggles and we're all facing battles every day, and to try and realize that, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and to just try and keep going in your own way. I think I'm probably writing a book that I need for myself in a lot of ways. And yeah, I think that's what I've tried to do, just show that, like, not the glitz and the glamour, like how it really is, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait, Mary. It's going to be fantastic. Enough about the book. I want to just get into a little bit about your career because I was there at the beginning. I'm not taking any credit for your phenomenal career, but I was there when you had your first cap in China. I got my 50th, which they forgot about, but we won't get into that. But like, I think a lot of people have seen you thriving at the top, right? And your story is quite incredible because you play for Bristol City, you play for Reading, you play for Wolfsburg. I was hoping you were going to come to Arsenal when you left Man United as well. But like, can you just tell me a little bit about your journey? I know you've gone into detail a little bit in the book, but like after the Euros, like Rachel Daly's spoken about the fact that people are at her house. Like, what was your whole journey been like? Because it's been a whirlwind, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely been a whirlwind, and I think women's football's obviously come a long way, and I feel like really good in a way that I've like seen. I feel like I've seen it not in its fullness because I obviously stood on the shoulders of the women that came before me, and then the women who came even before them, and you're talking about even back to when the game was banned and all that kind of stuff. Like it's it's progressed really quickly in a short space of time, and there's still a long way to go. Yeah, and I feel like I've experienced it from, Sunday league, non-professional, right? Like semi-pro really, getting like 25 quid a game, all the way now to like obviously it being my full-time job and sort of the heights of where it is and the amazing opportunities and everything that I've been afforded. Like it feels like a really, really crazy journey. Um and I'm grateful to have seen all of that and experienced all of that. And I think it makes me even more grateful for the position that I'm in.
And I've seen, you've spoken a lot about the fact that going to PSG, like you kind of needed to get away from all the pressure. I mean, you're winning Sports Personality of the Year. What was your thoughts behind that kind of decision to go to Paris? Because it's almost like you've taken yourself out of the spotlight, haven't you? I still see you, I still watch your games, but it's not the most highly profiled league, is it?
No, it's not. And I think that, my decision wasn't about being in the spotlight or not. Like if, that was, I know that's kind of how people view it, like, well, you're not going to be in the spotlight, but I'm not trying to be in the spotlight. I felt like I made a decision which I felt was best for me kind of like professionally and personally in terms of what I thought was going to bring the best out of myself and make me a better player and make me a better person. And I think I had an amazing time at Man United, like ups and downs, but for the most part, amazing times, met amazing people. And I think sometimes you just get to that point where like we'd been like pushing and pushing and pushing for different things behind closed doors. And I'd I'd then won the FA Cup and I felt like I wanted to kind of maybe, I don't know, like I feel like that's what it came down to in the end. I want to step out my comfort zone. I maybe want to try something new. And I think the added bonus of kind of maybe just focusing on football and having the quietness of that, like I think I struggled with the noise and the loudness. And um yeah, I think that's one of the common misconceptions about me is because I'm such a big personality. It's like, oh, like she loves to be center of attention. And I am a big personality, but I'm also can be quite reserved and quite quiet. And I like to just kind of keep myself to myself. And yeah, I think that it's yeah, it's been really amazing for me to like I felt like I was losing a part of myself, I think. And I've never lost that love for football so far yet. But I think that I was losing just this connection with myself. I felt like I was getting bogged down with different things, and I just wanted a little bit of a fresh start. And I felt like going to PSG, looking after like my body in the with the incredible facilities that they have, felt like that was going to add some years to my game and add like going to a different language, culture, football philosophy was going to add something to my football as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're coming up against your former side on November 12th in the
I
Champions
know.
League. Like,
I know.
what are your thoughts behind that? Like, I didn't really like when I went back to play against Arsenal, I found it quite difficult because I had
Yeah.
so much emotion. I mean, I was at that club for 12 years. So, how
Yeah,
are
yeah.
you feeling about going back against your old side?
Yeah, that's obviously you were there a lot longer than what I was, but I feel sort of similar. Like I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a great game. I think Man United are in great form, like doing a great job. A lot of like fantastic players there. Like Fallon's having a great season, played really well last season. Tooney, Jess Park obviously has been a really good signing as well. Mayer's having a great season. Jade Riviere, like they're all having like really good season. I could probably name the whole team to be fair. They're doing really well, and I've got friends there still, and there's so much fondness and like a lot of the players and staff that I work with have left, but I've still got that affinity and fondness for the club and playing at Old Trafford, like and how like that always gave me such a big buzz and it felt like home. And it's obviously going to be different to go there again. And I don't know how, yeah, what the reception's going to be like. I mean, for me, I'm going there with pure like love and hopefully it'll be an amazing game between two great sides.
Yeah, and for you, you've had a whirlwind over the last couple of days, and how are you going to kind of protect yourself, Mayor? How are you going to protect your energy? Because there's a lot of
I
people
don't know.
who have to say during this time, and like,
Yeah.
obviously, we don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but like, you have a lot of friends in the women's game. I saw you after the Champions League final at the after party. There's a lot of love for you in the women's game. So I
Yeah.
don't want you to just feel like everything's imploding because it's not. You're a fantastic goalkeeper. I've said it before the Euros. You were my number one. Yeah, Hannah Hampton's gone on to be the number one, winning all these things, and you have no animosity towards her. You just shared something in your book. That was your experience, like you say.
Yeah.
But how are you going to kind of get through this moment in yourself?
When people don't like things for what it is, I can accept that. Like, Mary, I don't like you. I can accept that. Like, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. It's cool. But when people are so like on something for what it's not. And I have to, I wrote the book. So, I'm not like upset that people have opinions on the book. That's totally allowed. I think it's because I just feel like it's got really distorted. And because of the way things have been reported, it's made it sound like I've been coming for certain people. And genuinely, like I've done so many pre-recorded interviews as well, which are now just going to look, and people are just going to say they look ridiculous because I have said throughout like how much respect I have for Sarina and how I think Hannah's such a great goalkeeper and what an amazing summer they all had together and what an incredible job Sarina, Hannah, and the whole team did. And I think that's just like really challenging because I feel like all of that has been totally lost. And I understand that's the name of the game and that's the nature of the beast. And I'm in this life and I'm in this industry. And I just take my responsibility as a role model so seriously. Like I've worked so hard to build this legacy, and try and leave the game in a better place. That's all we've done. Lianne, that's what you tried to do. That's what everyone tries to do who plays the women's game. We don't start in this game for money and cars and houses and all of that stuff. Like we don't. Like that's just the reality. Like we've played this game because we love it. And because I think because of all the stuff we've faced, we want to make sure that other people don't go through the same stuff that we go through. And I've literally tried to do everything I can to help people give opportunity, like I mean, I just sound like I'm trying to big myself up now.
No, no, you don't
I
have
feel like
to.
I'm
I
damned
get
if
it.
I'm do, I damned if I don't, like if I speak, like if I don't, I just and I'm not trying to play the violin. Like it's just hard when this is not what the book is. The book is my life, my experiences, my perspective. Other people can have different perspectives. We have multiple perspectives on the same situation, and that's okay. Like, I'm just trying to be honest in my truth and be authentic. And I think because I'm not trying to blame journalism or anyone, but because of these reports, like it's just come out like the polar opposite of what I wanted, and that is so frustrating because it makes you just want to, yeah, crawl up into a ball.
Well, mate, I tell you what, my show's not like that. So I'm glad that you've come on and I'm glad you've been able to have a voice because that's really important for me. Just the last question I want to ask you, we'll end on a positive note.
Yeah,
You
come on.
massively
Hit
got
me.
behind the Red Roses this summer too. Like,
Yeah.
talk to me about that experience, getting to help grow another sport. You talk about it there. We didn't get into women's football to have the cars, the fancy cars in the house, otherwise we
Right.
wouldn't play women's football. So
No.
like talk to me about how important was that to be there and be visible.
I think again, like women's sport can have so much synergy and crossover between the different teams. And I've followed the Red Roses a little bit for a while. Like I just love how they play and the personality that they express. But I think over the time I've met different cricketers and hockey players and netballers and different female athletes from English women's teams. And I think that it's amazing if we can cross over and help each other. And I think the Red Roses were going on a similar journey to what we were going on prior to the Euros in 2022. And if my platform or my voice can help shine a light on them in any way, of course I want to do that. I want to celebrate women and celebrate women's sport. I literally released a whole t-shirt just to do that with my clothing brand, like, to try and bring women together.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Mayor, I can't thank you enough for your time. And when we talk about, trailblazers and all that and the growth, people know that listen to the show how much I hate the saying growth of the women's game, but like they have a jersey, a women's jersey because of you, Mayor. So don't ever, ever, ever diminish everything you've done. And this book won't do that. Your career is going to continue to be fantastic. I can't wait to see you go up against your former side. And I'm always here for you. You know that. And thanks so much for joining me on my show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Lee. Appreciate that. Take it easy, yeah.